this lecture, I'll be discussing about one another type of another type of chromatography, and it is gas chromatography. It's a very important tool in the field of analytical chemistry for determining, for identifying any kind of organic or inorganic compounds present in any sample. Okay, so this gas chromatography is also used alongside mass spectrometry. Is a very valuable tool for the identification of any compounds. Okay, so this is mainly used for volatile substances. Okay, so that's why it's called it's used in the samples are handled in a gaseous phase, and that's why it's called as gas chromatography. So whichever sample which we have to analyze, it's dissolved in a solvent, and then it's vaporized at the sample injector point, and it's getting converted to gas phase, and then you are going to purge in the gas, and this gas is going to act as the mobile phase, and then the sample will be carried on towards the stationary phase, where the samples get separated depending upon their interaction with the stationary phase, and you'll be the samples, once they reach the detector, you'll be getting the retention time of the sample, and from which you can identify the compounds. Okay, so here, as far as the gas chromatography is concerned, it has been classified into two types based on the types of stationary phase you are going to use. If the stationary phase is in solid state, then it is called gas solid chromatography, and if it is in liquid state, then it is called as gas liquid chromatography, that is GLC. So as I told you before, this is used alongside mass spectrometry, and this is a very invaluable tool for the identification of molecule. So if you see the instrumentation part of any gas chromatography, this is a schematic diagram. So you have a cylinder which is going to contain the carrier gas, and here you have the gas flow regulator, which is for controlling the flow rate of the gas. It could be usually a rotameter. So through this the gas will be purged in. Okay, and then here you have the sample injector, and this is the sample injector port. So you have a micro syringe for delivering the sample into the column. Okay, and here you can maintain a very high temperature because this entire setup is in a oven. And here if you see, this is the column, and this column will be packed with the stationary phase, and at the end of the column you have the detector, and any excess sample which is not used during the analysis, it can be drained out as waste. Okay, and then here you have the detector, and following the detector you have the computer which has been connected for getting the chromatogram and for the analysis part, data analysis part. Okay, so now we move on to the individual components of this gas chromatography. So here the sample injection is carried out at the sample port. Okay, so as I told you before, the injection and vaporization of the sample happens here at the simultaneous fashion, and vaporization chamber, it's held at a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius more than the boiling point of the sample. Okay, whichever sample you have taken, it has to be vaporized. So the temperature set here at the sample injector point will be 50 degrees Celsius more than that of the sample. Okay, and then you have a calibrated micro syringe for delivering the sample, and its handling volume will be in the range of microliters. Okay, and any excess sample can be directly transmitted to waste through sample splitter. Okay, so these are all the important parts of the sample injector. Sample injector, you have a syringe, and then you have the septum, and you have syringe needle, and you have the carrier gas point. Okay, and finally you have the column where the sample and the column is going to meet. Okay, and then you have the next part is the carrier gas. So carrier gas is going to act as the mobile phase, and you have different options like hydrogen, helium, argon, nitrogen. All these things can be used as a carrier gas, but depending upon the detector used, the carrier gas can be varied. And the most widely used carrier gas is helium, and helium is preferred because it's more safer compared to hydrogen, and because hydrogen has the capacity of flammability, so it is not widely preferred. And it is also and helium is more efficient than hydrogen, and it has a very larger range of flow rate, okay, compared to other gases, and it can be used for any type of detector. Okay, so as far as this thing is concerned, gas chromatography is concerned, you have different you use different types of detectors like frame ionization detector, thermal conductivity detector, electron capture detector. All these things are used, and helium can be preferred for any of these type of detectors. So for that purpose, you opt helium is widely being used. Okay, and whatever gas you are going to use, it has to be it should have very high purity in the range of 99.99 percentage, and then the oxygen content should be very low. Okay, because if oxygen is present, it may change the uh, property of your sample. Okay, it should be inert, so for that purpose the oxygen should be as low as possible. And then the carrier gas, the cylinder will be equipped with a molecular sieve. This is for removing any water content and other impurities. For trapping all these things, you have a sieve present in the mouth of the cylinder. Okay, and then the flow rate should be carefully adjusted. Okay, so that uh, the sample is properly administered. Okay, so here if you see, here are the types of detectors and the corresponding preferred carrier gases are given here. Okay, and then we move on to the column oven. Okay, so this oven, here you are going to maintain it at a very high temperature, and there are two types of oven. One is isothermal programming and the other one is temperature programming. In isothermal programming, you are going to maintain the constant temperature throughout the entire separation process, and here in temperature programming method, the temperature is gradually increased at the range of 5 to 7 degrees Celsius per minute. Okay, and this is used for a very narrow range of boiling point, whereas here in temperature programming you can use it for a very wide range of boiling point of the sample. And next you go to the columns, and columns, two types of columns are available. One is wall coated open tubular column, and then you have, sorry, there are two basic forms of column. The first one is called as the capillary column. It is also called as open tubular column. Okay, and then this is classified into two types, that is wall coated open tubular column and then support coated open tubular column. So this wall coated open tubular columns, it has a thin layer of stationary phase which is coated on the column walls as such. Generally this column is made up of materials like glass, stainless steel. The stainless steel of grade T316 is widely preferred, and then you have copper, plastics, all those things are being used. Okay, so depending upon the usability, if you're going to continuously use GC for your analysis, then you have to use materials like stainless steel or glass. Okay, so depending upon your requirement you can change it. Okay, and the support coated columns, you have the column which is going to be coated with some adsorbent solid. This could be diatomaceous earth or any other uh, plant seed plant skeletons. Okay, all these materials will be coated on the column. Okay, and then one another important type of capillary column is fused silica wall coated column. Okay, here the columns will be coated with silica, purified silica. Okay, which is widely used, and they have very thinner columns than the glass columns, so that's why it is being widely preferred. And here again if you see the length, you can achieve, you can use from it could be as short as 0.1 mm to 100 millimeter. Okay, the length of the column. Okay, and packed columns, if you see, it is made up of glass or metal tubing, and they'll be densely packed with diatomaceous earth. And uh, they have one drawback, that is the difficulty in packaging, uniform packaging. That is one drawback as far as packed bed is concerned. Okay, and then if you see the detection system, as I told you, you have three different types. Okay, flame ionization, and then thermal conductivity, all those things are being widely used, and mass spectrometry is also one another important type. Okay, each detector, it has two parts which will use together to serve. The one is the transducer, which will convert the signal received into an electrical signal, and that is getting converted to chromatogram. Okay, so the first part of the detector is a sensor, which is going to lie very close to the column exit, and then the second one is the electronic equipment, which is going to convert the analog signal to the chromatogram. So here these are the two different parts of the detector. So any detector, it should have very high sensitivity. So even if at very low concentration, it should be able to produce some kind of signal, and then resolution is also very important. The peak should be as far as possible. Okay, and it should withstand. And one another thing about column is it should withstand very high temperature in the range of minus 200 degrees Celsius to 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then mass spectrometry detectors are also widely being used. So they are together, it forms the GCMS system. It is called as GCMS. Okay, and here if you see the instrumentation, when it is coupled with mass spectrometry, this is the instrumentation. Here you have the GC, and this is coupled with the mass spectrometry. So here in mass spectrometry, what is actually happening, you are going to use a radio frequency, and it is going to, whatever sample that is getting eluted from the gas chromatography, it will be bombarded with this wave, and you will be getting some kind of electrons that are getting, charged particles that are getting emitted, and based on the masses to charge ratio, you will be able to identify the compounds, the electrical signal which it produces. You will be able to identify the compounds. Okay, so that is about the mass spectrometry. So here if you see, these are the different types of detectors. So you can kindly have a read it to get an idea about the different types of detectors which are being used. Okay, so what are the limitations? They are not suitable for semi-volatile or non-volatile compounds. Okay, and then methane is high concentration, frequent calibration is required, and if there is any other trace molecule like water vapor or anything else is present, then you won't be getting proper peaks. Okay, and then the application, gas chromatography, it is used for the determination of volatile compounds present in any sample. It could be food, pharma, environmental sample, whatever, the biological sample, whatever it is present, you will be able to detect it. Okay, and one more thing, the gas chromatography, the mobile phase, which way you are going to use, it is chosen based on the Van Demeter plot. Okay, whichever gas is going to have very low HETP, that gas is being preferred. Okay, so I think with this gas chromatography is over. Next session we will discuss about HPLC. Thank you.